Donald Trump has said he doesn't like you very much. Donald Trump has said that he doesn't like you very much in the past. What makes you the best person to lead the Canadian government's efforts here?
Boy, oh boy, it is never a dull moment when Chrystia Freeland is at the mic. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland getting grilled by the media. As you saw from the opening clip there, this was while Chrystia was announcing that they will be reinstating a special cabinet to be dealing with Trump as he will be moving into the office soon. And this question was posed to her because Trump said this a few years back about Chrystia.
We're very unhappy with the negotiations and the negotiating style of Canada. We don't like their representative very much. I must be honest with you, we're not getting along at all with their negotiators. We think their negotiators have taken advantage of our country for a long time.
Now, this made news because Trudeau actually got snubbed by Trump in terms of a one-on-one meeting because he said he didn't like the negotiator. He didn't actually name Freeland by name, but she was the negotiator at the time because of this special cabinet. Now, we're going to be taking a look at the front bench with CTV as they break it down a little bit, and we'll hear from the reporter who actually asked that question.
Remember that in 2018 during NAFTA renegotiations? Safe to say that U.S. President and now President-elect Donald Trump didn't always have those warm, fuzzy feelings about Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland. Talks between the two countries were tense at times, with Trump taking aim at Canada on multiple occasions. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has tapped Freeland again to lead a revived U.S. relations cabinet committee, and Freeland was asked about her relationship today with Trump.
Donald Trump has said that he doesn't like you very much in the past. What makes you the best person to lead the Canadian government's efforts here?
I think that President Trump will obviously speak for himself, and I would never put words in his mouth. But in my experience, President Trump respects strength, and he respects people and countries who are strong and clear in defending their countries, in defending their national interest. That's what I've always done, and that's what I will continue to do.
So, does this make Chrystia Freeland the right person to lead the Canadian delegation in dealing with the new Trump administration? Let's ask the front bench. In studio, CTV News national correspondent Rachel Aiello. Now, Rachel, I'm going to start with you. You're the one who asked Freeland that question. Yeah. She seemed a little shocked by it.
It was both her reaction and the reaction of Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly behind her that was almost saying more without saying anything. Clearly, I think Freeland tried to focus in on her relationship with Lighthizer as an asset, saying that she's kept in touch with him over the years and intends to lean on him should he take the role that Trump is now asking him to fill. But I do think it was a question worth asking, Mike, because if Donald Trump, who is mercurious and is very driven by personal relationships, feels this way about Freeland, is that going to mean Canada is starting from a deficit right away? Should the government not try to put a new face in there, start a clean slate, and try to curry favor in a way instead of leading with this ongoing tension? I think it's also worth noting that today they were saying that they've also tried to reach out to sectors across the country as well as political parties, both in the U.S., key policymakers in border states, for example, and then new House and Senate as it forms. And then there was an indication that Freeland and others have talked to political parties in this country, the Conservatives, the NDP, about trying to form this coalition. So it's going to take a united front, and they all would have to get behind Freeland as the best person. So we'll be watching to see if there's any sniping coming from the other opposition parties to the effect of whether Freeland is the best person.
We don't expect sniping from opposition parties. I don't know what you're talking about.
Now, right off the bat, this is a super softball question because, yeah, you should get rid of Freeland. And as Rachel pointed out, even Melanie Joly could not stop smirking the whole time this question was being asked and Freeland was answering it. She just looked like a giddy child, like, oh my God, I can't believe you asked that. How could you put her on the spot like that? Like, it's clear to everybody that Freeland is not the best option. Trump has dealt with her before. He doesn't like her. It's not like he's going to forget who she is. And so put somebody else into this position, or at least the head. If you are going to keep her as the cabinet or committee in the cabinet or committee that they're created here, or reinstalled, I should say, move somebody else to the head. I think earlier she announced that Dominic LeBlanc would be second chair. Maybe move him in. In all honesty, anybody that is on this committee is a bad option. You're going to see a picture of them later on. But for the time being, as I said, to get us at least a little bit of a leg up, get rid of Freeland. Don't put her as the person that will be heading this. It doesn't make any sense. But they seem to think that we need a strong woman who will fight Trump or something like that.
So Rita, to Freeland's point, though, she says that Trump seems to respect strength, but he can also be dismissive of people he doesn't respect. So do you think that Freeland is in the right position now?
Honestly, I think that everything about Donald Trump's presidency round two is going to be unpredictable. The only thing I think that Canada has going for it is that this is less of a surprise today than it was in 2016. In 2016, it was a shock, right? Like, we really did not know that this was going to happen. We had no idea how to prepare for it. I think that this federal government and the Trudeau administration has been preparing for this for months. They've been doing a ton of bilateral meetings. They've gone into governor's offices, they've gone into states, they've gone into Congress, representatives. Like, they've really built up their political capital in the United States. And so beyond that, really unpredictable, right? This is a Trump administration that doesn't have kind of those quote unquote steadfast or saner Republicans that were there in 2016. You have potential. I heard Elon Musk was on the phone today with the president of the Ukraine. So it's really, really hard to say what's going to happen. I think what we should do is put our best people forward. And I think Chrystia Freeland is one of those people. She's intelligent. She's done this before. She knows what she's doing. And that's all we can do, I think, and then get prepared for whatever unpredictability and unhinged comes from the southern border.
Whatever comes unhinged south of the border. What about from our place? Sending Freeland would be the unhinged thing. Sure, she's been in the role before, but clearly that caused a lot of tension. And again, it's not to say that you can't have her in this committee or cabinet, but don't have her as the lead. I'm not sure what sort of benefit they think that they're going to have just because she's going to be back in this role that clearly didn't really go that well the last time she was in it. But as they move on to the next panelist, she kind of brings up a good point, which is something that Pierre Poilievre always talks about, and it's about the red tape and how this is going to be a problem with us moving forward within our own country and with other countries.
I think that the most important thing for Canada to do right now is figure out how we can put our money where our mouth is and actually start getting things done, because that's what the Trump team is going to want to see. They're going to want to see us actually taking action. So some of their trade priorities for us are going to be around energy and natural resources. The Prime Minister was just talking about critical minerals and the important role that that's going to play in the trade relationship. I think that Canada has a huge opportunity to approach our trade negotiations with the United States and with the Trump administration from a position of strength. If we were able to say that we've got the critical minerals that they need in order to meet their goals, from a development standpoint, from a defense standpoint, from building out their energy network that they're going to need to support AI and lots of other technological breakthroughs. But the problem is we can't seem to get those minerals out of the ground. It takes 15 years to build a mine in Canada right now because of regulatory red tape. So we can't quite go to the table with the Americans from a position of strength, telling them we've got uranium that they're going to need for their nuclear build out, that we've got critical minerals that they need, when we can't get this stuff out of the ground and to the United States. So the first thing that this government needs to do is start fixing the red tape problem that we have so that we can make good on those commitments to the Americans.
Now, she brings up some solid points. There's too much bureaucracy and red tape when it comes to these sorts of things. And Pierre has brought it up many times in regards to housing, in regards to getting permits. It's just too much in the way. Now, Jagmeet's brother is next, and we're not going to be playing his part, but he essentially says, well, these provisions are there for more so environmental reasons. But as she stated, 15 years to build a mine that potentially could give our country great revenue, great trading partners, because we have these critical earth metals or rare metals that could benefit other places, kind of seems like a long time. But we're going to skip Jagmeet's brother, as I said, go back to Rachel, because she brings up a very good point that I thought about when Trudeau was actually being interviewed earlier today.
Do you think, Rachel, to Gerritsen's point, that Canada has to try and lead the dance a little more here, or is that difficult with a partner like Trump?
I think they're going into this dance knowing some of the steps already. But what is interesting to me and struck me in one of the reporters' questions there was something I was also wondering today is why do we have this special Canada-U.S. committee under Trump only and not Biden? Trudeau noted there, softwood, EVs, there have been areas of irritant under Biden. So I do wonder what signal it sends to Trump and his allies right now that they're seeing potentially headlines about Canada striking another Canada-U.S. committee because they're worried about Trump.
Now, this question actually was posed to Freeland and Minister Jolie while they were there, but it was towards the end, at the very end, actually, as they were walking away. You could hear, I think it was Marika Walsh yelling it out. But later on, Marika Walsh actually asked Trudeau this. So I'll play these clips back to back so you can see what I'm talking about.
The question is whether Pierre Poilievre will want to be partisan and defend Canada's interests. Our goal is to make sure that we work all together.
Why do you have this committee under Trump and not Biden?
Hi, Canadian Press. So, question on a similar line. You made the clear decision to publicly resurrect the Canada-U.S. Cabinet Committee, but it wasn't used during the Biden presidency. I guess I'm wondering why you decided to do that now.
We know that President Trump has made very, very clear his emphasis on supporting American jobs and moving forward in ways that are going to benefit people in his country. And we know that there's a way to make sure that is done in partnership with Canada that's going to benefit people on both sides of the border. We had challenges with the Biden administration on a number of issues, like electric vehicles, where we had to work extremely hard to make sure that we were included in the benefits around electric vehicles for the IRA. So we've had very deliberate and concerted approaches on the U.S. as necessary. Right now, standing up once again the Canada-U.S. Committee is a sign that we're ready to tackle some of the new challenges that no doubt the new American administration will put on the table for countries around the world that Canada will be ready to handle.
Now, quick correction, it wasn't Marika Walsh, it was actually the Canadian Press. Apologies. However, Rachel still makes a very solid point. Why are you implementing this only with the Trump administration, this being now the second time that you're putting forward this cabinet committee thing, but you never did it with Biden, especially when you openly admitted that with Biden you had problems with lumber as well as these EV situation. Now, if you don't remember what I'm talking about, a few months ago we implemented 100% tariffs on Chinese EVs with 50% on their steel and 25% on their aluminum. Or those are reversed, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And Trudeau just openly admitted that they had to fight to make sure that they were still part of this deal that the US and Europe agreed on. Now, if that is the case, then why didn't you have this special committee then, if you were having problems with Biden? And Rachel brings up a great point that this will show weakness to Trump, saying like, we're essentially worried, so we need to implement this special committee. And you're going to see the committee that I was talking about now.
Like if we are heading into this dynamic wanting to show strength, we are kind of like low-key signaling, hey, we are a bit worried about this. We've got this special committee we didn't have under the Democrats. And I'm curious what message that is sending to the Americans about how Canada's feeling heading into January and beyond.
Yeah, and there is that committee, some of the faces that we've seen before around the table, some new faces obviously in it as well, but Chrystia Freeland, who is the chair of it. Sabrina, to that point that Rachel was making, do you think that this is actually a signal to Trump that, oh, Canada is worried, or does he now take us more seriously that we have it? Because as Trudeau had said, you know, this is a sign that we're ready to tackle new challenges. I think it's clear what the new challenges are, you know, conversely to what that reporter is asking the question about. I mean, obviously, they were more politically aligned, Biden and Trudeau were. And do you think that Trump receives this message as oh, good, they're getting a team that's ready to deal with me?
I'm not sure if he's receiving it as, oh, good, or, oh, shucks, like, I think they're getting ready for me. I think that what is most important is how we position ourselves. Like, I don't really know how much attention Trump is paying to Canada and to, like, our, like, interactivities as much as he's paying to what he wants to actually do and enact in the United States. I think what this cabinet committee shows is that we are organized, that we're coming to the table with some sense of what we want to accomplish and what we know is going to be on the table. Like, it's not a secret that Donald Trump has put forward these protectionist measures, that he wants to bring things back to the United States, and that threatens a lot of the trade relationship, the economic relationship that we have between Canada and the United States. I actually think it's a positive move that the government put this cabinet committee together. It makes us look organized. It makes it easier for, I think, departments and Canadian organizations to work with this committee. And I think it makes a much stronger impact when we actually go to negotiate with the United States, which we know we're going to have to do. Like, it's not something that's going to be surprising to us.
Well, then why would we not have this when we were dealing with Biden? That doesn't make much sense. You say this is such a fantastic idea, but if it's supposed to make us look more organized, easier to work with, and give us better bargaining powers, why have we not implemented it with Biden? Why are we only doing it with Trump? It kind of gives the wrong message. And for you to go on about, oh yeah, he has these protectionist views, he wants to limit the trades that are happening and focus more on the American economy. Shouldn't everybody be doing that? Wasn't COVID a good example that our country relies way too much on other countries? We couldn't get any PPE here. We all had to wait for China to send stuff over, or India. Our facilities weren't up to par in order to start producing things. We should be looking into having our country producing stuff for our citizens as well. It's not just like an American protectionist view. A lot of countries should start to think of it. Not to say that we can't do trade with other countries, but we shouldn't just be relying on them for a good majority of what we need, like PPE, for example. But as always, this is just my opinion. Love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you thought about all this. And as always, I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks so much.